Hey, welcome back. This is Michael Montgomery on the most electrifying show in the nation, no, in the world, Undefeated. And I have a special guest with a special story. You know what I'm going to say? An inspirational guest with an inspirational story. I have the star of as Priscilla Owens on the BET's #1 scripted cable show, Tyler Perry, The Oval, the entrepreneur, the author, the actor, the master manifesto, Taja V. Simpson.
Yeah. I'm going to just hire you to do all of my intros everywhere I go.
Hey,
we're on our way.
I did a lot of practice in the mirror. I was like, you know how you read lines to yourself in the mirror? I was practicing this introduction, making sure I perfect this right.
Oh, you did good. You did good. Thank you so much. And thanks for having me today.
No, the pleasure's all mine. Before again, how are you? How you feeling?
I'm doing good. I feel great. My view from where I am right now, I'm looking out at the marina and it's a beautiful view. It's a beautiful day. The weather's lovely. So I'm feeling good.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. So, for the the new listeners that's coming in, and tell us, where you're from and how did you get started in the acting?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm originally from Lake Charles, Louisiana, born and raised. I like to say I'm from the real LA, but that's just me. Whatever.
From that South.
From that South. I'm from the booth, and I'm proud. But my journey with acting didn't start until I graduated college. I graduated with a degree in mass communications, broadcast journalism and mass communication was my Bachelor of Science. And then the whole time I'd been having this little bug on my arm, a birdie on my shoulder, just being like, hey, you should try acting. You should try acting. Because I used to do it as a kid with my cousins. We would play pretend and stuff like that. But we didn't know this was acting. We could actually be, as a kid, we would say in the TV, right?
Okay, so what movie did y'all play pretend in?
Oh, that's such a great question.
Yeah.
We did Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon.
Oh, that's
The
fire.
Last Dragon.
Who's the master?
Yes!
Yeah.
No one ever asked me what movie. I was this is the movie. Who's the master? Show up. I know who could beat you. Who said that? Beat? Fine, who said that? I got him, show. I got it. Oh, I can do the whole movie. We can just go back and forth, okay?
That was one of my favorite ones. When I kind of grew up, or we kind of all just grew up on, and just to see somebody, Black and playing those type of characters, it was amazing. That was amazing. What?
Yeah.
For your career, when you was going through, what did you see in one point of your career when you realized, you're heading in the right direction, you hit that role that's the starting point, kind of like a breakthrough role for you?
Okay. Breakthrough role. I would say for me, it was when I booked The Bold and the Beautiful. And it was a soap opera. It was on obviously every single day. I was recurring on that show for 2.5 years. And for me, that was big, because I booked other co-star roles, but then it was more, one day co-star, one day guest star, things like that. But this show, I was on a few days a week for 2.5 years. So that was a really big deal for me. And that was, I would say, my breakthrough. And then the next level, I feel like it happens in levels. We have all these different breakthroughs and different levels in our lives, right? And the next one was when I booked Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, man.
And Grey's Anatomy was you on primetime television. Oh, man.
Yeah.
You made it now, So everyone, a lot of people watch that show. And it's still on today. And so that was kind of like the second tier of the the breakthrough.
That's amazing. That's amazing. With over 40 credits, you've seen the highs and lows of the business and built up a resiliency and to strive to make things better. How do you handle, the feeling of failure when you don't get a role you auditioned for? How do you handle the?
Yeah. So here's the thing. Failure for me, it was much bigger than not getting the role. It alluded to my lack of self-love for myself, my lack of belief in myself. Because I'm from Lake Charles, Louisiana, love where I'm from, but I came up in a time where it was about the brown paper bag. So if you were darker than a brown paper bag, you couldn't go in people's homes, you couldn't do certain things, right? Different social norms were different for you because you were too dark. So I was bullied, I was teased, I got it from family, from friends, from neighbors, from school, it was everywhere. It was the culture, right? That's the way people lived and believed. So it took me a really long time to get to a space where I fully believed in myself, fully loved myself. So when it came to rejection and dealing with failures in the industry, this is complete hindsight. What I'm sharing with you is that I realized in hindsight, it was affecting my self-esteem. It was affecting who I was. It was affecting me, right? Because I had so much value in making it and so much value in booking this job and so much value that I did not have enough worth in myself. So I had to learn how to overcome that by being the best version of me. So now, if and when I audition for something and I don't get it to go to the next person, like it could just, roll off my back and it's fine, no problem. But I had to learn practical steps that would really get me to that space. And that started with gratitude. It started with living in a spirit of gratitude of no matter what's happening or going on in your life, you have to find gratitude in it. That then led me to affirmations, really affirming myself. And when I got a chance to really live in that intention with really affirming me, that's when things shifted. And then the first time I looked in the mirror and said, I am worthy. I am beautiful. I am enough. I burst out crying because I never said those things to myself in that way. Yes, I got dressed. I got ready to go out. I feel good. Like, oh, okay, girl, I feel cute. We about to go do this. But all of that was this facade I was living in that I started to believe in. So I was living in the facade of I'm okay, but I wasn't really okay deep down, right? And so the rejection and all of the failures affected me so much that it affected my self-esteem and all of these things. But when I got to a place where I started to value me and not allow what the world was telling me to affect me, then I started to book a whole lot more. So I would say I got over my failures by being the best version of me.
That's amazing. And when you went on that spiritual, I call it when I'm listening, a spiritual journey. Affirmations and the power of words. It's great to hear. Talk about how the power of forgiveness allowed you to open up because I was listening to TD Jakes and he talked about how to let things go. So, when you're not taking stuff to the bed and waking up angry. So talk about how the power of forgiveness, because, we're both from the South and I'm from Texas, and all my family is from Arkansas. And, sometimes we could be brutal with each other, our family.
Yeah,
and
totally.
Talk about how the power of forgiveness allowed you to open up and let things go with, your family, with your friends, because, family is family. You can't trade your family. So whenever you're going back to your hometown, and you're seeing those family members or friends who maybe taunted you in that way. Talk about how the level of forgiveness allowed you to open up and be a better person.
Yeah, absolutely. Gosh, forgiveness is one of those things that you have to do. I had to learn that I have to do this in order to get over this so that I can get through this, right? Whatever this was. The biggest person in my life I think that I had to forgive was my aunt. Because growing up in the South, like everybody had a nickname, right? And that's just, I don't know, maybe the culture of it in all cultures, but it's just the thing. You have a nickname.
Everybody
has a nickname, but my nickname was so demeaning that it was the catalyst, I would say, that led me to this low self-esteem journey, because she would call me Ugly Thing. And when she would yell it out, she'd be like, Ugly Thing, come here. Like, that's how she would say it. She would never use my name. Or she would say that, or like, she black, get off me, oh, she trying to hug me, like that was what she would do. And whenever my parents would try to make her stop and do all these things, it was like a bully. It would just make her do it even more. So it took me a long time to get over that, because when so many things are around you, like you can't play with the kids down the street from you because you're too dark. Oh, a lot of people don't want to be your friend because you're too dark. Oh, your aunt calls you Ugly Thing. Oh, your sister's, teasing you at the house, and in a jovial way, but it's still factual. You go to school, it's like, oh, you too black to wear that. It's like it's happening everywhere. So I had to learn to forgive her so that I could start my own healing. And the first way I had to do that was write her a letter. I had to just write it out. I had to write 2 letters. I had to write one to her to forgive her, and I had to write one to myself, one to the younger version of me. Because I feel like I needed to speak to young Taja, speak to the young girl that was inside me who used to sit in the tub and pray to God to make me lighter, just so that just a little bit, don't make it too drastic, Lord, because I don't want people to notice it. But like between me and you, like it'll make my aunt love me, and it'll make people, stop teasing me. It's like these are real earnest prayers of a kid, And so I had to write a letter to that girl specifically that sat in that tub, that didn't like who she was, who didn't believe in herself, who didn't think she was enough. And rightfully so, because she's a young kid, but everything around her is telling her she isn't. So I had to learn to forgive. For me, forgiveness came in levels with all those experiences, all those people, and specifically my aunt, because that was the one that would break me every time. And once I was able to get to a space where I knew I could talk about it, it doesn't make me cry. I could forgive her and then move on from it. I could be in that energy, in that space. I felt free. Like I literally felt, I felt free. It was like freedom. And it was a freedom, and it was a peace that I never knew that I needed until I did it. And then I ended up writing about it in a book that I have coming out actually next week on 8/25. It's going to be on Amazon. It's called Women Who Shine.
Women Who Shine.
So yeah.
That's amazing to hear.
Yeah.
And with your book, Women Who Shine, and your other book called Cracking the Code.
Cracking the Acting Code.
Cracking the Acting Code. Kind of talk about what inspired you to, help up and coming actors.
I've just always kind of had a heart and mind to serve. I worked in my church for 12 years. We were over the drama ministry, which was over our huge theater program. So we were always trying to come up with creative ways to save souls for Christ. And because I was an actor and a director and, in the writing, producing film, it was like, okay, let's do it this way. And so that's what we would do. And then as my personal celebrity began to rise, I would always get asked from people, hey, how do I get started in acting? Hey, how do I do this? Hey, what are the first steps? And so I found myself being on the phone with just random people all the time, trying to give them as much information as possible. Or I get a phone call from a friend saying like, hey, my sister, cousin, baby, mother, daughter wants to be an actor. Can you talk to her? And I'd be like, sure, I don't mind helping your sister, cousin, baby, uncle, daughter, And so I ended up writing like an email out and trying to give as much information as possible. And then a friend of mine was like, yo, we should write a book. I'm like, yes, I've been thinking about writing this book. Let's do it. So that's where Cracking the Acting Code came in. And then from there, I end up, I'm still a working actor. So I'm working more and more and more. And so I realized the book was doing well, but this is the era of video, if you will. And people are visual learners, and they like to look at a video and watch and learn that way. So then I was like, okay, I'm still getting these questions. People still want to know. I have less and less time now, right, to be able to help as more people. So I was like, what could I do that could help hundreds, if not thousands of people at one time? And that's where I came up with the Working Actors Academy, because every goal for an actor is to be a working actor. So the Working Actors Academy is an online program where you can go and learn all things, everything you want to know about acting and how to get started and how to be a successful working actor. I've created an online program for that.
That's amazing to hear, because, I always say, you're not living unless you're living for others. So pouring into other people just only makes you the best version of yourselves.
Agreed.
I want to take us back, take us behind the scenes. I know you worked with Tyler Perry, the mogul, the actor, the entrepreneur, business guy. Take us behind the scenes and as the director, and take us, is he a laid back person, a serious person? What do people don't see from a directing style?
Great question. Tyler Perry is fantastic as a director, I think, because of his mental capacity. He remembers everything. And what I mean by that is, as a director, like, you're the captain of the ship and you're the one that's kind of leading us on what we're doing. But I've also worked with him when he's an actor in Boo too.
Mm-hmm.
So he's playing all these different characters. And so he'll be doing all these different ad-libs and funny moments. And then we'll remember all of them and then go and dress into another character. Like, okay, he was playing Joe and now he's Medea answering Joe from a previous take of an ad-lib he did. Like, what? On top of, let me get the camera A over here, camera B over here, let me get camera C.
Yeah.
Like, all of it, you know? And I'm like, what? Like, he's able to do it all, right? And when he's not in it in the piece, like the Oval, and he's sitting back, he's directing, he's very serious. I mean, he has funny moments for sure, but he definitely knows what he wants. He walks into the room and he's like, okay, I'm gonna have it camera A, B here, C, you're gonna be there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you guys are gonna walk in, you're gonna have this conversation right here, and then go around and come back. That's what we're gonna do. Okay, we're ready? All right, let's go. Just that fast. And you're like, okay. Got it. You know,
he's acting on a different level. He understands his ad libs and remembers ad libs to say the different colors. So that's amazing to hear.
He remembers everything. Yes.
And in a recent interview, you talked about the shooting schedule, that he runs a real tight shooting schedule. Can you elaborate more on filming a season at Tyler Perry Studios?
You know, the Tyler Perry way is unlike any. It's not the Hollywood way. The Hollywood way. Let me give listeners a perspective, right? A point of comparison. So when I'm on a television show that's going to shoot 22 to 25 episodes for a season, that's going to roughly run a year, right? Because you're going to shoot an episode a week or a week and a half, and you're going to go from there. In Tyler Perry world, you can do 22 to 25 episodes in like 3 weeks or less. Because he shoots it like a movie. So what I mean by that is when you're shooting a film is not shot in order, it's shot by location. So when you go to, let's say, interior Samantha's house, you're gonna shoot everything at Samantha's house, right? While you're there. And then you go to the next, location and the next location. That's how film is shot. So he shoots a television show like he's shooting a movie. So for myself, with Priscilla and Sam's house, every scene that you'll see for season 2 that was shot in the house, it was shot in a matter of hours. We probably did 19 scenes in like 2-3 hours or something.
Oh, wow.
So it puts a lot of weight on the actor, and it stretched me so much, but it's also made me a much better performer because I learn lines very, very good, but that's the prerequisite. You got to know your lines, right? But at the same time, you have to keep up with the trajectory of your character and where they are in the world of Priscilla. Because right now we don't shoot in order. So those house scenes are going to start with the living room. Then we're going to go to the kitchen. Then we're going to go to the bedroom. Then we got to go from day to night, night to day, things like that. So I may start with episode 17 and then go to 13 and then go to 5 and then go to 2 and then go to 1 and then go to 8 upstairs. It varies. You're all over the place. But it puts a lot of weight on your actor to make sure that you are super prepared and you really know where your character is coming and going at any moment in time, because you're changing clothes and going to the next scene. You're literally moving at such a super fast pace. So his shooting schedule is serious.
So
it's rigid.
So how many pages do you think y'all will do a day?
Yes, we shoot over 100 pages a day.
I listened to a Samuel Jackson interview on Breakfast Club, and he said for a movie they'll do 3 pages a day.
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. So when you go have auditions or anything, it's like maybe 1 or 2 pages. You're like, oh, this is nothing. I'm like,
exactly.
It just kills.
Exactly. That does happen, and I had to get myself out of that because I'd be like, oh, I got to audition. How many pages? Oh, okay, 4. All right, I'll look at it later. Like, I got it.
Oh yeah, there's no. That's the same thing I said about with the A&M, and we practice under extreme hot temperatures. Is like 115 degrees. We have 15 pounds of pads, and we're going hard for 3 or 4 hours. And I get to the professional league, we're practicing maybe hour and a half at the most, and I'm like, man, this is nothing. When we're indoors, we're in Green Bay, the weather's 65 during the summer, so wow. it just I guess his work is preparing you for other work to break down things much better. So he's just make you a better actor overall. That's
what I say. That's what I always say. And so now instead of looking at that 4 or 5 page audition scene, I'll be like, okay, cool. I know I'm gonna learn it fast. So now let me add more time into developing the character so I can give a much more, better and more well-rounded performance, because I was getting in the space of like, it's 2 pages, nothing. I'll look at that tomorrow, but you're right. It allows me to be a much better actor for sure, because it stretched me into places I did not know that I could do.
Mm-hmm. And also, want to iterate with your cosmetic line. Could you share the inspiration behind the cosmetic line?
Yeah, Taja V Simpson, lipstick collection. Whoa. Hi, guys.
She got excited too. She was like,
I know. They're like, yeah, tell them about it.
Get all the orders. Leading lady. I want my copy.
Yeah. That is so good. So yes, this collection, interesting enough, it was okay. Thank you. Sorry. It was birthed because I did not always believe I could wear color. Mm-hmm. Because of my upbringing that I previously spoke about, and because of all these things, I started to believe that about myself. Like, okay, I don't look good in color. I can't wear lipstick and all these things. I was told that so much. So over time, I just kind of believed it. And my friends would always try to get me to wear lipstick. And I'd be like, oh God, that doesn't look good on me. It's fine. So one day I was in a cosmetic store with one of my friends, and this was like the 100th time she's asking me to wear lipstick. And I was like, oh my God, stop. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm gonna try some lipstick on. Will you be fine? I'm gonna try this lipstick on. Will you leave me alone when you see it don't look good on me? And she's like, yes. I'm like, great. So the lady comes over and she's like, so what do you want to try? I'm like, I don't know, whatever color you think will look good on me. I just want to show my friend that it's not gonna look good. And so she was like, okay. So she gets the color, she puts it on me, and I look at myself in the mirror. And when I look at myself in the mirror, I started crying. And my friend comes over and she's like, oh my God, take it off. I'm sorry. You didn't have to put it on. Take it off. What's wrong? And I was shaking my head no. And she was like, well, what? You don't like it? And I was shaking my head. Yeah. She goes, these are happy tears? And I'm like, yeah. And it was at that moment that I realized I'd allowed so many people's opinion of me to be my reality. But I never even tried it myself. So now here it is. I'm walking and believing that it's something I can't do because people have been telling me something I can't do. I won't look good in this, won't look good in that. So I just believed it and didn't do it. So that allowed me to be able to stretch. And so I ended up buying, there was a purplish kind of color. I got that one, and then I got a red, and then I got a pink. And I became this whole new girl of like, oh my God, I wear lipstick. It was this, and it makes it like a small thing, but that was such a big thing for me because it was something that I had to overcome. And so when the opportunity came up to do lipstick, we were developing all these colors, and then we decided to launch it in February of last year for Valentine's Day, and we did. And then the 3 colors we ended up going with the purple and the red and the pink. And then it hit me. I was like, wow, these are the first 3 colors that I ever wore. And so the purple is called Triple Threat, the red is called Leading Lady, and the pink is called Lights, Camera, Action. So it was birthed out of overcoming a disbelief I had of myself. And that's where the Taja V Simpson lipstick collection came from.
Boy, you had me fired up, when you talked about overcoming and it's crazy. We're both from the South, and like I said, our surroundings might be the ones that can cripple us, our mentality. And just hearing your story, thinking about my story, how even some of the people that's close to you, will put you down or scar your dreams by what they say. And it's very important for the listeners out there, for the self-love, self-worth, have a game plan. Anybody wants to pursue acting, holler at Miss Simpson. Yeah. Get on her platform. She has all the tools, she's been through the ups and downs, and she can help you navigate you on how to start a healthy career in the industry. And that's the great focal point I love to reiterate. Also, just get a couple fun questions before we go. What are your top 5 actors you would want to work with?
Ooh, okay, top 5 actors. It would be Tom Hardy. It would be Christian Bale. It would be Denzel Washington. There's some women in there, Viola Davis and Meryl Streep.
You must have that wrote down already.
I know. I was like, oh, got it. These are people that I love their work. Like, when I love that they can really transcend themselves and be chameleons and be completely different. You know, like I like when I do something, like I'm in another role and people are like, that's you, and I'm like, like that's a compliment to me, because you don't see me, you know, you see the character. So that gets me excited. But yeah, they are all people. Oh my God, yeah, they're on the bucket list. It's gonna happen. We're gonna manifest that trust.
Oh yeah, it's gonna happen. What is your dream role you would like to play?
Superhero. Superhero, absolutely. Nubia. So Wonder Woman has a black sister. Nubia.
Yeah, I know. You know your stuff, yeah.
I do, yeah. And then there's another character that I love called Vixen. That's also a DC comic character. And Vixen actually was Spider-Man's like great love, but we don't, hear about that.
Yeah.
But Vixen or Nubia, these are beautiful chocolate brown warrior women that were big in this kind of the comic book world. And so I would always want to be a superhero, and I want to be Nubia or Vixen. Yeah.
Man, that's what's up. Yeah, you know your stuff, because Nubia was it's a Wonder Woman's sister. Yeah.
Sister.
Yeah, That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
But
you covered it all.
Yeah, okay. I covered it all. I squeezed it down. I was like, let me make sure I get this block of time, get all the questions I can get in. But one last question for the young and up and coming actors who wants to learn some foundation advice. If you could speak to the younger you, what advice would you give to your younger you that's starting on your journey in the acting career?
The thing that comes to mind is believe in yourself. You have to, and I get it, it sounds probably really cliche, but you have to get your level of belief in whatever it is that you desire. You have to, like I always say, you got to know it like you know your name. That's how much you got to believe. Like, nobody can walk up to me and say, my name is something different. No, my name is Taja, right? But that's the level of belief that you have to have. I had to learn to stretch my bubble of belief, I like to call it, or your level of belief, if you will. And all that means is you're only going to manifest whatever you show up in your life is only going to manifest at your level of belief. At your level of belief. So sometimes we have to stretch ourselves. We have to stretch our faith. We have to stretch our imagination to allow ourselves to really be able to live and breathe and grow so that thing can happen. Because it's not going to happen if you don't believe it at such a high level to where it can actually show up. That's law. That's Bible, whatever you want to call it. That's law of attraction. That's, death and life is in the power of your tongue. Whatever verbiage you want to use, that's what it is. So that's what I would say to my younger version of me. And then I would say, if she was coming up right now, go sign up for the Working Actors Academy.
That's what I'm talking. You see how I set you up? I was like, I had that wrote down. I'm like, I'm going to give her this alley-oop, this Chris Paul alley-oop, and she going to knock it down. Yeah. Where love of playing work comes together.
I love it.
Thank you for your time. I really appreciate everything. Hey, where can everybody follow you? Give all the social media links and everything. Where can everybody get in touch with you?
Absolutely. My favorite platform is going to be Instagram, so you guys can follow me there. And I'm at Taja V Simpson everywhere. So that's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, at Taja V Simpson, TAJAVSIMPSON, and it's theworkingactorsacademy.com.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, and I definitely appreciate your time, and best of luck on all your endeavors. Much success, much happiness.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Also, everybody, don't forget to like, subscribe to the YouTube page, the Instagram page, the Twitter page. I'm new to this. Undefeated WMM on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube page, and make sure everybody like, comment, subscribe, share, do all that stuff, and tune in for the next episode. And don't forget, Undefeated. It's not just a podcast; it's a lifestyle.